Hello and welcome back to my F1 2019 career mode for episode number 3. We are at round 2 of the first season in Bahrain. I'll leave a link to the last episode if you didn't see it. We had a great first race in Australia. Here we are for qualifying.
Bahrain qualifying is nearly upon us and the drivers look as if they're all geared up to go. I expect we'll be getting underway very shortly. When it comes to getting lap time out of this circuit, it's traditionally been about maximising top speed. Do you simply remove as much downforce as possible, hang on into the corners and max out down the straights?
The teams will have arrived with all manner of parts designed to capitalise on the long straights. The cars will be that much harder to drive in the corners, but everyone will be in the same boat.
So here we are in Q1 at the end of our first flying lap. We didn't do the best lap, so I decided to go straight onto another one without putting new tyres on, because I think I'll have enough pace to get through to Q2 anyway without
There's only one lap of fuel remaining.
putting fresh tyres on. Jeff there interrupting my hot lap as usual, but green to the first sector, green to the second sector and final sector, and that will get us safely through to Q3, but only just in position 14, with Albon Giovinazzi, George Russell, Danny Kvyat and Robert Kubica out in Q1. I guess you can see that's still very much the 2018 performance of the cars from the previous game, but that will change for the Canadian Grand Prix. Moving on to Q2, this was my best, my fastest lap of any of the sessions, so I'll show you the entire thing. Pretty good through the first 3 corners there. I had a bit of trouble with turn 4 on throughout the weekend, but that time I managed to navigate it pretty well. Didn't get a very good line through these 2 corners. Any kind of flowing sections of the tracks I really struggled with pre-patch before the performance update came out, but since then it's been fine, but this was recorded quite a while ago now. Anyway, turn 10 was pretty good. Can use the inside curves there as you saw, and that really helps. Because on most corners you can't, and especially on that right-hander, if you touch that curb, you go on, you've spun out and hit the fence, or say at turn 1, if you run over the curbs, you just gonna lose too much time, it's too rough. So anyway, getting closer down to the curb on the right at the spinning corner. Anyway, through the final corner, took a little bit of a tight line, but other than that, it was pretty good. And that will get us into Q3 with 2 spare sets of tyres. We get through in position number 6, and our teammate not far behind us. We equip our 4th set of soft tyres, saving the 3rd ones for the race if we can, and we embark on our Q3 lap into the last corner, just trying to use up as much track as possible, but ran a bit too wide there, and that was it. We lost time there.
We're all ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who will be fronting the grid. Vettel, Bottas and Lewis Hamilton. Well, that wraps up qualifying, but don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow as we head into the Grand Prix.
So not quite as good as it could have been, or could have maybe even out-qualified Gasly. That the difficulty setting may have something to do with that, but we did out-qualify Verstappen, so, and we're actually not far ahead of our teammates, so I don't know, maybe our car's just faster than I think it is. But anyway, we move on to Formula 2. I will be driving as Roberto Merri. He's returning from F1 2015 when he drove for the Mana Marussia team. And yeah.
Well done. Very solid results. You're looking good for the race.
Thanks a lot.
Hello and welcome from the Bahrain International Circuit here in Sakhir. Down on the grid, the engineers are making their last checks and today's race will be underway shortly. Plenty of opportunities around the 3.36 miles of the Bahrain International Circuit for these young F2 drivers to show what they can do. The best passing opportunity right up there at turn 1, and we should see plenty of action there. But there's another not long after at turn 4. There are 9 right-handers, 6 left-handers, and the possibility that we could see some flat spots at the tightest of those left-handers. That's turn 10. In the commentary box for the big race today, I'm Alex Jakes, and joining me once again, it's Davide Valsecchi. Davide, as well as being the 2012 GP2 champion, you also have experience as a test driver in F1. What would you say are the biggest differences for people fresh to the world of F2?
Well, Alex, I think it's an exciting time in Formula 2 right now. For spectators, a lot of excitement comes from all the drivers being in the same car. That puts the emphasis on driver skills, meaning lots of overtakes, which means exciting race for us.
So before the off, let's remind ourselves of yesterday's results with a look at the starting grid. A fantastic effort from Lando Norris yesterday puts him on pole position, with Roberto Merri alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Cuoco, De Vries, Nurey Fukuzumi, and Sete Camara, Delatraz, Russell, Makino, Dorian Boccolacci, Latifi, Albert, Artem Markelov, and Gunter, Aitken, Giotto, Maney, and Nico Kari. Morandi and Sean Galeo completes the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
You should have some space going into the first corner, so try to keep it tidy.
I will try to keep it tidy, Jeff. Here we are on about to start the formation lap. Here is Roberto Merri. And
Launch map is good, but we need to learn the gears, so go into each one when you can. We're going to need some work on the brakes, so put some energy into them and warm the tyres as well, please.
this video is already going to be fairly long, so I'm not going to show Formula 2 qualifying. I thought since Codemasters put in the work to put the Formula 2 cars in the game, I'd integrate it into the career mode a bit, and yeah, just do the season alongside the Formula 1 season as is done in real life. So
the rest of the grid is forming up. Be patient and watch for the lights.
obviously these are the 2018 cars, but we won't worry about that for now. 5 red lights are at the top of the screen. Off we go for the feature race. Norris gets a much better start than us. In fact, our start was not very good at all, and we were susceptible in the first corner, but we've been hit from behind, and yep, that's not how I wanted to start my first Formula 2 race in the game, other than the intro sequence, I guess. But yeah, we were almost 5 wide going into the first corner, and yeah, that was just never going to work. This is, I think, on board with Latifi, but I'm not sure, so don't quote me on that. I am not too familiar with the 2018 Formula 2 drivers, and yeah, very, very, very lucky to get away with no damage there. I don't really know how, actually. We move on anyway. So can still make up the time though. There's plenty of time left in this race. So yeah, we should be able to make it up, unless we do that.
Not the start we were looking for, but it's not over yet. Stay focused. Gap ahead is 9.3 seconds.
But eventually we do catch up to the field. It took us 5 laps, but we've caught up, and now I can focus on trying to pass them and get back into the points, hopefully. So here we are, about to start the final lap of the race. We are in 9th by the end of that montage, and yeah, we are almost.
This is your final lap of the race.
Almost made enough positions to get the reverse grid pole, because if you don't know, in Formula 2, the top 8 of the feature race, the first race, get reversed and to form the grid of the second race, the sprint race. So if we get one more position, we will pole position for the sprint race. So that will be ideal. We'll be able to get a bunch of points in that race if we do start on pole. So we'll have to see. So my best overtaking opportunity was going to be in this right-hander here, turn 8, but I wasn't close enough this time, so that could be our best opportunity if that go on. I've already got a few points for the fastest lap. I think there's 2 points for that in Formula 2, so that is something. But as we go into the third to last corner, the left front tyre just blows up with no explanation really. Aitken there, I think it was, wasted no time in getting past us, and we are struggling to get home in 10th place, the last points bank position, and we might just hold on. More rubbers flying off the wheel there, and it's a drag race. We've got a puncture, but we just hold on to 10th place, and the 1 point we score for it. This is the final corner. It was Markelov we were battling side by side with there, looking to the left to see where he is. But you can see the tyres flapping all over the place. I have no idea how we had any straight line speed.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
With that front left looking the way it does, but we hold on to 10th, just.
Brilliant stuff from Carlin today. What a superb victory. And I have to wonder, Davide Valsecchi, just what set them apart from the competition here.
It was down to one thing: consistent pace over everyone else out there on the track. We could spend a great deal of time talking about race and tire strategy, what else to put on the track, but at the end of the day, the difference here was down to simply being faster on track than everyone else. Amazing skill on show.
And there you have it, today's winners. Having raised some of the biggest names in F1 to date, Carlin have once again shown their expertise when it comes to recruiting new talent. No doubt today's winners have a bright future ahead of them. They certainly deserve it after today's performance.
So you got Lando Norris, Sergio Sette Camera, and I think it might be Fukuzumi in third, I'm not sure. One of the Japanese drivers in third. I'll have to consult the results screen for that to confirm, but I'm pretty sure that's who it is. But 10th place for us.
And now let's take a look at the driver's standings. It's a good result for Lando Norris, who extends his advantage at the top of the championship. And now, Davide Valsecchi, let me ask you, who is your driver of the day?
I think I'm going to give it to Alexander Albon. He came through the field so well today. Well deserved.
And now a look at the team standings. Carlin moved to the top of the table. After all this drama, you'd be mad not to join us for the next race. We hope to see you then. Take care.
It was Fukuzumi in third, so good race for him. But I'd say the Drivers' Championship is just the way people finished for now, other than myself. Got the fastest lap point. On to race 2.
Welcome back for the final event of the weekend, the sprint race. Here, the top 8 from yesterday's feature race are reversed to make up the grid below us. And in just a few minutes, those drivers will be hurtling down into turn 1. As we await the start of another hugely anticipated Formula 2 race, I'm joined again by Davide Valsecchi. Davide, as a former GP2 champion, can we get some insight to what is running through these young drivers' heads as they sit out on the grid?
Ciao Alex, it's a pleasure to be here. There are nervy moments, there is no doubts about that. Mental strength is the key to remain calm and focusing on the upcoming race. Formula 2 is so competitive and all of these drivers knows that they are going to be pushing each other all of the way. In this sport, you have to be able to control your nerves.
Right, let's be patient going into turn 1. We want to be in a good position for the rest of the race. Good luck.
So here we are on the grid for the sprint race, 5 red lights, and off we go for the sprint race. I just said that. Anyway, we get off to a bad start once again. I just can't nail the start in these Formula 2 cars for some reason. It's just, I don't know the way the cars are. But we lose a lot of positions through the first corner, and we dropped to 14th position. So not the start I needed. I needed to hopefully get ahead of Norris on the start, but that didn't happen. We dived down the inside on the who's that? Markolov. So we're resuming the battle straight away from the last race, but couldn't get that position. So he's obviously had a bad start as well. He would have been starting alongside us, but anyway, we go for a big dive into turn 8, and we get Markolov trying to get the traction versus Lorandi, but a big slide instead, and could not get that position. So we sit in 13th, and we have a lot of work to do by the end of this race. Straight away I'm moving to the inside line. I was trying to get Lorandi to defend and go around the outside, but that didn't happen, so we're going for a big dive on the inside, and we've made that position stick, so that's good. So Gunther's up next. Had a look on the outside here, but nothing to do there. You can't just send it around the outside like you can in the Formula 1 cars sometimes if you have a better...
Alright, let's focus now for the rest of the race.
If you have a better car. But we move to the inside line, and hopefully we are able to get in here. He defends a little bit, but we can go down the inside anyway, and that is us up to 12th position. Move ahead from here, down the inside of Jack Aitken, and that was a good move, I feel like.
Great maneuver. You made it look easy.
You see on the onboard here from Aitken, we were a little bit too far back, but we dived down the inside anyway and get ahead before the apex of the corner, and Aitken barely had to adjust his line. We just got past straight away. So we moved back to our POV, and we are now behind De Vries. We go down the inside of De Vries, and that is another position. We are closing in on the points. We are currently in 9th, so one position away from the points. And we have got Norris himself up next. But he is going to have a battle with Fukuzumi before we can even catch up to him. And thought about trying to go past both of them there. They held each other up quite a lot, but I didn't really have anywhere to go in the end. We are trying to get a run here on Fukuzumi, trying to straighten up the exit of turn 2 and 3, and he defends, so we should be able to go around the outside here. And we do just that big dive. We maybe went in too deep, and Fukuzumi gets back in front of us, go to the outside, and very, very close on the left front there, but we get through, make the apex of the left hand of turn 7, and we can now focus on Lando Norris. And we dive down the inside of him, and that is another position. So we are now ahead of the championship leader. That's what we need. Bit early to be talking about the championship leader, but anyway, we do need to be outscoring Norris. I feel like he's going to be a rival throughout this season if we want to win the Formula 2 title, driving as Roberto Merri. Anyway, we dive down the inside of Sadie Cameron now, and we are up to 7th. Not quite. Now we're up to 6th position, and we are now focusing on Fuoco. Down the inside of him on the last, or second last corner technically, and we're now in the top 5. Okalachi is up next, the man who denied us our reverse grid pole. Had a look on the inside, but he just shut that door. We sweep across the back, trying to go around the outside, couldn't make it, so we dive down the inside at turn 1 this is, sorry, and finally we pull off a move there. That hasn't been the best overtaking place, but you can see the move here on board with him, and a little bit of contact, but not a lot I could have done about that. He just turned in, really.
We're in P4. Latifi ahead. The gap to the car ahead is 3.1 seconds. Gap to the leader is 8.8 seconds. 13 laps to go. We're starting to catch the car in front, but we need to look after the tyres. We won't be making another pit stop.
Yes, Jeff, look after the tyres, blah blah blah. I'm not worried about those right now, but what I am worried about is scoring as many points as I can in this race, and closing up to the back of Nick Latifi. So we have a bit of work to do to catch him. Got the fastest lap there, so
the car behind has started to drop back. There's a gap beginning to form.
we have some pretty good pace, and I think we should be able to catch Latifi and the cars ahead, and then it's just a matter of passing them.
We're catching the car ahead, but be aware that these tyres need to last till the end of the race.
Jeff, stop interrupting me to talk about the tyres.
Okay, we've pretty much destroyed this set of boots. Pressures are all over the place. I don't think there's any more to come out of them today.
Okay, 70% wear on the front left in 16 laps. What's that? That's 71% now, and 72 now. So okay, so that's 4.5% per lap, and with 23 lap race. Yeah, that's not good. We're going to end up with 103% wear by the end. Okay, I'm going to need to make a pit stop, otherwise I won't make it. So Jeff did have a point about the tyres in the end.
Some information on Maney. It looks like the problem is terminal. They're retiring the car. A new strategy is available on the MFT.
Looks like we're going to have a
Confirmed.
good comeback to score points. Maney out of the race, but we're not worried about that. He's been down the back anyway. So we actually do catch Nick Latifi, but it's the last corner, second last corner. Said it again, but we're coming in on this lap, so I'm not too concerned with trying to overtake him. And we come into the pits for our pit stop, and we'll just have to see where we emerge after this. It's probably more costly in Formula 2, since you've only got one person changing each tyre, not three, to make a stop or an extra stop.
Exit now. See these tyres through to the end now.
We re-emerge in 19th place, only ahead of Arjun Maney, who we just heard is out of the race. So it's going to be quite a comeback drive in this race to hopefully score some points, but it's not looking promising at this stage. So on lap 19 we catch up to Nico Carey, and we get past him pretty easily.
Nice work, that brings you up in place.
We've obviously got much fresher tyres and also much softer tyres than Carey, so I think that was pretty easy.
The gap between you and the car behind is increasing by a significant amount each lap. Good job. Good job. That was the fastest lap of the race so far.
And you can see obviously we have very good pace right now. We catch up to, who's that? Randy, who's battled with him a few times. And we're having a drag race towards the penultimate corner. And Formula 2 cars obviously will have the same engine. They're a spec series, so it's actually a very even drag race. But we don't get off the last corner too well, even though we've got much better tyres. We just got one line, and Lorandi's in our slipstream and goes to the outside to try to pass us and flies straight past us, but we can brake so much later, and we maintain a position despite him having the advantage in the straight line there. So that's the benefit of fresh tyres, and let's hope I can use that to pass everyone else. Tried to move here on, who's that now, Makino.
Nice move.
I've actually passed him. Big dive there on our teammate Luca Giotto, but pulled that one off as well. So making the moves. We also passed for Leon there, George Russell up next, and there we go, ahead of Russell now. Markolov's up next, flying past everyone here, and we are now up to, what is that, 12th position. We are 4 positions away from points. In fact, there's 4 cars in front of us. We go for a big dive, try to pass as many of them as we can because we're on our last lap now, and couldn't get the exit off the final corner. We could only get 10th place, but that race ended very suddenly.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
And yeah, that took me by surprise how quickly that race ended. But anyway, I was happy with that comeback though.
So another fantastic victory for Dams today. And Davide Valsecchi, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
Hanging ground when your opponents make mistakes, but then not make mistakes on your own. You can just push and push.
And I can see our drivers making their way out now. It's been a sublime team performance, and it's the culmination of a lot of hard work. Dams are your winners today.
So Albon gets the win there, Delatraz in second, and I'm not entirely sure who that is in third. Once again, I don't know all the Formula 2 drivers.
After this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. The gap at the top of the championship has been cut down after a difficult race for our championship leader. Now then, Davide Valsecchi, who would you say was your driver of the day?
Lots of drivers impressed me today, Alex, but if I have to say one that impressed me most is Alexander Albon.
On to the teams then. Carlin moved to the top of the table. Well, what a weekend that has been. Please join us next time for another thrilling installment when Formula 2 returns.
So it's Dorian Boccolacci in third. Albon gets driver of the day again, so he's making all the passes, second in the championship, and Lando Norris still ahead, and we really didn't come away with too many points from that round. 5 points, and 4 of those were the fastest laps. So onto the main F1 race.
The curtain rises once more then on the desert stage of Sakir as the players take their places for the opening act. Will they enthrall us like they did in 2014 with that titanic battle between Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton? Well, we'll find out shortly as we get underway here in Bahrain. Formula 1 returns to the desert today on this exceptional 3.36-mile circuit. 15 corners provide plenty of overtaking opportunities. It could be a strategic race, this one, with Sakir notorious for eating up the rear tyres. Watch out for drivers managing their rubber at some point during the Grand Prix. A warm welcome to Anthony Davidson, who's beside me in the commentary box today. Let's talk about the scientist. That was a solid result in their last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
There are never any guarantees in this business, but certainly the performance last time out would have boosted their confidence coming into this one.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Sebastian Vettel will start on pole. Fantastic qualifying from the multiple world champion, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Hamilton, Leclerc, Pierre Gasly, the scientist, Verstappen, Perez, Butler and Daniel Ricciardo, Hülkenberg, Norris, Lucas Faber and Grosjean, Raikkonen, Albon, Antonio Giovinazzi and George Russell. Kvyat and Robert Kubica takes the last spot on the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
So finally onto the main event. Going to be a 2-stop soft to medium tyres. Considered the hard tyres as you saw there on the strategy, but it was going to be slower, so yeah, that wasn't the option to take. So full race right now.
Okay, our system checks are good. We need to stay in formation and start bringing the car up to temperature, please. Get some load into the tyres and work the brakes. We want them nice and warm by the end of the lap.
Yes, Jeff, you know the thing, I've done this before. Now, anyway, finally we get to the race start, 5 green lights, and away we go after a very long hold there. Another bad start. I haven't quite nailed the strategy of the technique yet at this stage, but Perez on the right side there goes for a massive dive, cuts the corner, but makes quite a few positions, jumps both of the Red Bull cars. We have to slug it behind them, but he's looking good up there. The Red Bull's fighting away as well. We're moving all over the place, but dive around the outside, 3 wide with the Red Bulls, but we get squeezed off the road there.
Alright, let's focus now for the rest of the race.
And Hulkenberg got past us as well, so not the best start for us, but we can improve from here. And remember, our team objective is only to get 12th, so we're already well ahead of that. So is Perez. He's had a flying start. Hulkenberg actually goes for a move on Pierre Gasly. What is happening to Gasly in this race, being passed by a Renault? Hulkenberg will be loving that, passing Red Bull after they abandoned the Renault engines for this season. So we also go down the inside of Gasly, almost crashed into Hulkenberg under brakes there.
Good job, nice overtake.
But we just get away with it, and Gasly is really struggling in this race. I'm not sure what his problem is, but he's struggling a lot. So we move on, and now we have to try to pass Hulkenberg. We should be able to set up a move maybe into the first corner now, as we complete the 3rd lap of this race. So we get DRS on the straight for the first time now, and
The car behind is dropping back by about 3/10 a lap.
we go to the outside, Hulkenberg goes to the inside, and we switch back. So we're going to try to get a good line through these next 2 corners, and maybe try to move at turn 4. Let's see where Hulkenberg goes. He defends, so we're going to go to the outside of Hulkenberg here, round the outside, and we should be able to pull that off, and we do. We are now ahead of Hulkenberg, and we can now focus on next car, Max Verstappen, but I'm not sure we'll be able to pass him. He's obviously in a Red Bull, and I'm not sure what's happened to Gasly, but he must have some kind of issue to get overtaken by myself and Hulkenberg, as well as losing out to Perez at the start as well. So we move on, and now we've got Sebastian Vettel in front of us. So he's obviously had some issues as well. I'm not sure what they might be, but he is looking pretty slow at the moment. We are looking very good for the move, maybe into turn 4 here. We've got a good run out of turns 2 and 3. We've gone to the inside. Vettel has decided to defend, so we're going to the outside, down the outside, all the way around the outside, and that was probably easier than passing Hulkenberg. So yeah, there's a bit of a sign there that Vettel is having some issues in this race. This is looking at Vettel's front wing, and he does have damage. So yeah, that's definitely the cause of his slowness in this race. But the next car in front of us is our teammate now, Sergio Perez.
Come on, we need to get past.
And Jeff there encouraging me to try to pass Perez, but it
You're
won't,
increasing the gap to the car behind by a few seconds per lap. Keep this up.
happen for a little while. But he's actually being held up now, or at least trying to overtake Verstappen. So Perez obviously has some very good pace in this race, keeping up with Verstappen. Eventually Verstappen does get away from him, and we go for a move, not quite, into the turn 8. So it's not the end of the world if we don't get past our teammate now. We've got strategy to play out, and I think we will probably pit earlier than him as well, because that's just the way strategy generally works in the F1 games. The teammate tends to pit later. But we are closing in on this home straight. We've got the DRS now,
We're approaching the pit window. You'll be on the mediums.
and Jeff there confirming we will be pitting soon, but Perez defends. We go to the outside. We are going to try to go all the way around the outside, and we pass him there.
Pitting this lap then. Come into the pits at the end of this lap.
On lap 10 we just decided just to come in and just get this first pit stop out of the way, because I just really don't like the tyres and the soft tyres. So in this game, they're just not very good.
Exit now.
They wear out and overheat very quickly.
Okay, you only have to stop once now. One stop left.
And I thought if I was lucky I'd be able to get an undercut on Verstappen, but that is very optimistic. He was quite a way up the road. So we move on.
Okay, we need some energy harvesting. Reduce ERS
Go
deployment.
down the inside of Kvyat, locks up, but we couldn't make the move. He took the racing line, so I'm going to have to try and pass him into the first corner instead.
Gap to teammate ahead is 20.7 seconds.
And we're going to go for the biggest dive bomb into the first corner. Almost hit the back of Giovinazzi there, Giovinazzi I should say. But we avoid contact and get through ahead of Kvyat. And we can't waste any time with these cars to make sure we get out ahead of Perez. Had a look at Albon into the next, into turn 8, but it wasn't really close enough. So it left away. Had another look into turn 9, but again, just that's not really an overtaking place. So we get a good run out of turn 10 onto the back straight, and we have a good run. We defend, so we go to the outside, down the outside, round the outside, and that wasn't too hard of a position. And the next car is Pierre Gasly. What has happened to him in this race? We passed him in the first couple of laps, and haven't really seen him since until now. So he's whatever troubles he was having is obviously continuing, and he is dropping down the order massively. So we pass him, and there is a Williams ahead of him. George Russell, having an amazing race so far, is ahead of Pierre Gasly in the Red Bull. So yeah, I don't know how to explain that one, but we go down the outside of George Russell and turn it a little bit on in there, but we don't make any contact, so it's okay. And
Brilliant. Nice move.
we have gained that position. Kimi Räikkönen's up next. There's a bit of a gap, so we jump ahead to when we've caught up, and he's in his own little battle up ahead with
The battery is low on energy. Reduce ERS
Daniel
deployment.
Ricciardo. They both go across to the right side, so then we compromise their line through here. We close right up behind them, almost crashing into Ricciardo, but we avoid contact once again, and Räikkönen has been has a much more compromised exit than Ricciardo did, so we go to the outside for turn 4, trying to go all the way around the outside. Räikkönen holds the inside line, and we just get around the outside. Räikkönen's still there, but we eventually get through, and we can now focus on Ricciardo. Into the last corner, he locks up, and we almost run into the back of him, so a couple of close calls with these cars on other strategies, but
Gap to car in front is 4.7
he pits
seconds.
there anyway, so we don't need to worry. Hulkenberg pits there as well, so that's one less car we have to worry about passing. But remember, we were battling with him not long before we pit. He was in the battle with myself and Perez and Gasly and all of that lot, so he's you can see the benefit of the undercut that we made from how far back he's dropped. And we move on
Sergio is in for his
to
stop.
when Perez pits, and we are coming onto the straight, and we're going to see just how much time we've gained on him. If we've gained time, I assume we have. Someone up ahead pits, Vettel that is, so we've almost passed him, so he hasn't had a good race either, considering that is his first stop, but we are well clear of Perez.
Sergio behind, they're on fresh softs. We think they've got one more stop. Bottas is out in front.
Did he sound angry then when he said Bottas? Just wondering.
Bottas is out in front. Bottas is out in front.
I don't know, you decide. Anyway, that sounded a bit like a song. Hang on a minute.
Bottas is out in front. 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 You're in P5. Verstappen ahead. The gap to the car ahead is 6.4 seconds. They're on old softs. That is Sergio behind you. Our gap behind is 3.8 seconds. They're on fresh softs. Our gap to first place is 20.8 seconds. 13 laps until your pit window is open. 37 laps to go.
So we move on later in the race, and here comes Perez blazing past us, and he's on soft tyres, but and they're newer than my own, but yeah, he took us very quickly and is now driving away, so...
Pit in this lap, and remember the speed limit. We'll be penalised if we exceed it. Keep that in mind as you approach.
That's a little bit worrying about my pace for the rest of the race, but we'll see. Anyway, come for our pit stop. Perez has already stopped, so he's doing the undercut this time. It makes sense that he has done a shorter... done a shorter stint than me
That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops.
in the second stint, and it'd be good if Jeff stopped interrupting me, but anyway, he is ahead of us now still, so we have the work to do. We've got both on mediums, and we've got the fresher tyres, so we should be able to catch him. So it's just a matter of putting in some good laps and seeing how we can catch him. By the time we get onto lap 40, we have caught up to Perez going into the first couple of corners, and we'll have DRS on this straight, so we should be able to pass him into turn 4, but didn't get the best exit off of turns 2 and 3, so I was a bit too far back. So we'll have to find another place to pass at this point. I'm thinking about turn 8. It has been a pretty good corner so far, so we'll have to try and get a good one through here, but that didn't happen, so we've fast forward to the last couple of corners, and Giovinazzi weaving all over the place, getting in the way a little bit there, but admittedly I moved to the right as well, so that was a bit of a panic there, but
The gap to the car in front is less than a second. Let's try and get past in the DRS zone.
I have been trying to get past. Anyway, we dive down the outside of Sergio Perez, and we make the move stick, and we are through into position 5 once again. So we could get 2 consecutive top 5s. This is the onboard with Perez, so we almost went off the road there on the outside, but we get through. Perez comes back at us now, down the inside of turn 4, and yeah, we have to do all the work again. So it was a short-lived position 5, but anyway, we'll have to fight back, and
Vettel behind. Our gap behind is 6.3 seconds.
now we've also got Vettel behind us as well, so we don't really want to fight too much because that'll allow Vettel to catch up, but we'll worry about that when it becomes a problem. For now, I just want to get ahead of Perez. This time we pass him at turns.
You have P5. Leclerc is ahead of you. Okay, gap ahead is 7.2 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. Sergio behind. They're on old mediums. The gap to the leader is 45.7 seconds. That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. 14 laps to go. Gap to car in front is 7.7 seconds.
So saying we passed him at turns 1 and 2, and we got DRS on the way out, so we could run away with the position. But he's not letting us go. He's gone around the outside into turn 11, but no way around there, mate. So yeah, we're not going to let him pass that easily. We move on, and he's caught up once again and passes us once again. And
Okay, we need some energy harvesting. Reduce ERS deployment.
this battle just keeps going on and on.
Virtual safety car. Virtual safety car.
We got a virtual safety car now for Roman Grosjean. Has had an engine failure, so it was Mercedes last episode and the Honda, but
Virtual safety car is ending. Maintain your pace until the green flag. VSC ending. Wait for green.
now it's Ferrari's turn to have an engine
The track is clear. Green flag.
failure. So yeah, not a good start for all of the manufacturers
The car behind is gaining on you by 0.5 a lap.
other than Renault. Haven't had any mechanical issues yet, but there you go, Vettel has caught up and passed us, so maybe we did fight a little bit too much with Perez, but we're only on lap, 48 of 57, so I really don't think that's what made the difference. I think he was going to catch us anyway. He defends a little bit there, which is a bit strange that he felt the need to, but anyway, we're going to try and follow him through and maybe try and use Vettel to pass Perez.
You're increasing the gap on the car behind by 0.5 per lap.
So we move on later on, and we have a big dive on Sergio Perez, just missed the back of his car, and yeah, that was more just missing the braking point than actually trying to pass, as you saw, and he just swerved to the right at the last minute, lucky not to lose the front wing or even the front wheel. Big drift there, that looked nice, but eventually we catch up to Perez again. We've gone kind of to the outside once again, and we try to outbrake him around the outside. We might just make it here, and we do get the position off of Sergio
The battery is low on energy. Reduce ERS deployment.
once again. So the battle seesaws once again, and we defend a little bit just to make sure he's not going to try and pass us back, and hopefully this
You're closing in on one of the Ferraris.
time we can hold on to the position, but
Caution, caution.
we're closing on one of the Ferraris is an interesting radio message.
Someone's come off ahead of you. There's a yellow flag ahead.
But, Jeff's warning me about something going on ahead, and something is Vettel is slower in the middle of the track right there, and that is some kind of car failure, second Ferrari engine failure, or it could be gearbox in this race, and there's us zooming past on the replay. So yes, double retirement Ferrari, not the one, only one of them was the factory or the other in the Haas, but yeah, not a good race for Ferrari as an engine supplier. But on the last lap you can see I smashed one of the signs back there just for fun, because I had a gap to Perez that I could mess around with, weaving across the line.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Ferme.
And we have position 5, 2 top 5s in the first 2 races. That's good.
The Mercedes team pulled out a fantastic performance today. They should be proud. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again. So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. After an incredible performance, Lewis Hamilton secures the top spot in the Drivers' Championship. Now, let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a contender for Driver of the Day?
But there's no question in my mind, it has to go to George Russell. What a performance. He's got every right to be proud of what he accomplished out there today.
Let's move on to the constructors. Mercedes moved to the top of the table. Well, that was certainly an incredible weekend of racing. Be sure to join myself and Ant for more exciting Formula One action soon.
So we managed position 5 in this race, 6th for Perez, so 2 good finishes in a row for both of us. And didn't see too much of Lucas Faber and Devin Butler in that race. Didn't really see them at all, actually, now that I think about it. But they both scored points, so they were there or thereabouts. But looking at the constructors, we are 6th and 7th in the constructors, myself and my teammate. And Gasly is nowhere. He hasn't scored points in the first 2 races. Obviously, in Australia he had the engine explosion, but in this one I'm not sure what happened to him really. I didn't see, but anyway. In the constructors though, we are 3rd as a team. We are ahead of Red Bull thanks to Gasly's bad performance. But anyway, this is the start for Sergio Perez. Straight away got a brilliant start compared to us especially. And you're about to see the biggest dive. I thought my dive on Kvyat was good, but look at that. Straight down the inside, cut the corner a little bit. Maybe a bit of contact with the Ferrari there, but side by side as well. Didn't give up, but eventually the Ferrari straight line speed just came into it there. But and look at that, Red Bull side by side back there. We're on the outside as well. And this is how Vettel got the damage. This is Valtteri Bottas going down the inside, and he just locks up just a little bit on the front left, and he crashes into Vettel's front wing. You'll see from here a bit of smoke off the front tyres, and yeah, just crashed. So not Vettel's mistake at all.
Great work out there today. Let's have your thoughts. That was a good race for Lucas. Are you pleased to see him doing well?
Yeah, of course, it's good to see my old teammate doing well in these races.
You're breaking all expectations. What's your secret?
There's no secret really. The team are just doing their job, I'm doing mine, and the results are coming.
You had a close battle today, didn't you?
Yeah, it was a really good battle with Perez today. We really pushed each other.
Do you think you were lucky not to end your race with that crash? Appreciate your time.
So, in our rivalry with Sergio Perez, we got the finishing position and the faster lap this time, so we got some good points against him there. We haven't chosen the second rival yet, hasn't been an option yet, so we'll have to do that at some stage. And as for resource points, we should get a whole bunch for the team objective. We have almost 2,000 this time, so we have a bunch of resource points. We should be able to do some upgrades. For some reason, Ferrari and Red Bull hate us, maybe because we beat their drivers, but I don't know.
Great work. That's exactly the kind of result I'm looking for. Keep it up.
So as for upgrades for this episode, I decided to go with more department efficiency for the aero because our aero is dreadful, so I want those upgrades to come in later in the season as fast as possible, and into next season as well. And I didn't have enough resource points left to go for the rear downforce to match the front downforce, because for some reason both the aero and engine tree starts with major upgrades, but the chassis tree starts with a minor, so I decided to do that and do the weight reduction. So that should come in for the next episode, and the aero front downforce should come in for Azerbaijan, I believe. So until then, I will see you next time. Goodbye. how Jeff, how quickly he got past them. Oh, for goodness sake.